As I reflect on the journey of financial giving in my life and the lives of fellow believers, one of the most poignant lessons I've learned is about the nature of tithing and generosity. Often, Christians grapple with the question, should we tithe exactly 10% of our income? While the concept of tithing, a practice deeply rooted in Old Testament theology, is vital, it's equally important to grasp that God cares more about the posture of our hearts than the exact percentage we give. Looking back at my own journey, I recall how my initial steps into giving were modest at best. Early in my faith, dropping a $20 bill into the offering on a Sunday felt like a significant sacrifice. It seemed generous, given my frame of reference at the time. However, as I grew spiritually and financially, I realized that this sporadic generosity was just a tiny fraction of my income. This led me to adopt a more structured approach to giving, starting at 3% of my income. Over time, this increased to 5%, where it plateaued for a couple of years. This progression was not just about meeting some religious obligation. It was a personal confrontation with the reality that money had become an idol in my life. God's plan was not merely for me to give, but to be freed from the grip of money. Committing to regular sacrificial giving and eventually exceeding the traditional tithe was part of breaking that hold. Every dollar given away in this journey has been a step towards true financial freedom, a testament to the liberating power of generosity. In the Old Testament, tithing was a way for the Israelites to acknowledge God's sovereignty over all creation. Leviticus chapter 27, verse 30, and Deuteronomy chapter 14, verses 22 to 29, highlight tithing not only as an act of worship, but as a communal practice that supported both religious leaders and the less fortunate. This dimension of tithing teaches us about stewardship, community, and generosity. However, moving into the New Testament, the focus shifts slightly. Jesus and the apostles emphasized the importance of the heart behind our giving. While the law of tithing as practiced by the Israelites provided a foundational guideline, Christ fulfilled the law, inviting us into a deeper understanding of generosity. It's not strictly about adhering to a 10% guideline, but about embodying the spirit of giving in every financial decision. Today, Christians are encouraged to give in a way that reflects a heart transformed by God's grace. The New Testament does not prescribe a fixed percentage, but calls us to give willingly, cheerfully, and generously, as stated in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. Our giving should be a joyful response to God's generosity towards us, not a legalistic obligation. In practical terms, this means that our decisions about how much to give should be guided by prayerful consideration of our personal circumstances and God's leading, whether it's 10%, more or less. What matters most is that our giving flows from a heart aligned with God's desires, a heart that treasures kingdom values above earthly wealth. Embracing generosity as a way of life does more than fulfill a command. It shapes us into the image of Christ. Jesus taught that where our treasure is, there our heart will be also, as mentioned in Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. Thus, our approach to tithing and generosity becomes a reflection of our spiritual health and a testament to our priorities in life. By aligning our financial practices with our faith, we not only honor God, but also advance his kingdom on earth. This alignment brings us joy and peace, reminding us that we are not just contributors to a cause, but active participants in the transformative work of the gospel.